Greetings, Patrick here. It's time for another edition of Dollar Theater. Dollar Theater is an ongoing series that was started by a good friend, Hobbs Horror, and in which we watch and review films for $1.25 or less. Today I'm a little bit inspired from our good friend Charles Cochran. He was doing Dollar Theater for a minute, and he's got a playlist. I'm going to put that down in today's description, in the description box for today's review. But I thought I'd review a movie that he did on his Dollar Theater. And I told him, I says, it's time for me and the Cheetah to go visit this. So the movie we're going to be talking about today was actually left to me by my good friend Catfish. And the movie we'll be talking about today is Rise of the Gargoyles. Now you're wondering, why am I holding the DVD like this? And that's because Romey kept his movies, because he has so many of them, he kept them in binders. So that's where I keep them as well. So I don't have any case for it. I just take it out of the binder and put it back in. So Rise of the Gargoyles is a 2008 film that was made for the Sci-Fi Channel. And this is a really unusual one. The movie was actually made in totally 100% in France. It also has a really strong cast, and that features Eric Balfour, who many of us know as Duke Crocker from Haven, Carolyn Theron, who plays Nicole, Justin Salinger plays Walsh, Tanya Clark, who plays Carol Beckham, and who the story is revolved around, and Nick Mancuso. Wow, that's a name I hadn't heard for a while. Nick Mancuso plays Father Gable, but I know Nick Mancuso as playing in one of the best Bat movies ever made, called Nightwing, back in 1979 with David Warner and the lovely Catherine Harold. So it was really cool seeing that Nick Mancuso was still kicking it back in 2008. So this is a really fun film. It has a lot of good for it. A couple of slow things. A couple of things we'll point out too. But the basic story is that this group is trying to renovate a church and get ready to knock it down. They're gonna knock down the old church down and rebuild on it. And they don't know that there's a gargoyle that lives there that's actually nesting. And two workers go inside. They discover they discover what they think are just relics, and they inadvertently take eggs from the gargoyle. So of course the gargoyle mama's not too happy about that, and wipes them out. Then we meet Eric Balfour's character, who's Jack Randall, Professor Jack Randall. He's giving a lecture to some board students at a university. And we see that he's over there teaching class because he's pretty much trying to do anything for money, because he's going through a bad divorce. He wrote a historical book, for teaching, a textbook, but it wasn't accepted. So even more pressure. His friend Carol really believes in him, and while those two don't have a romantic relationship, but they are very close, and she has nothing but his best interest in heart. So when she hears about the church being taken down, and a chance to maybe see some new history, maybe that will inspire Jack to write. So she takes him to the church at night, because they're not really supposed to be there. Well, they go inside there, and Jack goes down to check out the basement, and he sees a lot of cool things. And Carol stays on top because she's brave, but only to a certain limit. But she discovers the eggs that the workers have been carrying that were killed. Well, she discovers them, and she takes them. So she takes them. So she puts them in her bag, and then they start hearing noises within, and and so they decide to beat their feet. And as they're leaving, we see a mysterious figure looking at them as they're leaving, as they're entering, and as they're leaving, he's staring at, he's looking at them. So they decide they're going to meet up the next day and talk about what they saw. But unfortunately, Carol is not going to make it because she gets killed by the gargoyle, who's not too happy about her eggs, and she's able to track the person who has the eggs. She's able to track the eggs. So if you're carrying them, it's not a good thing. Well, that leads to when Jack and Carol were having a dinner. Jack's car was wiped out and a body was tossed on it, made it look like a suicide. But it was basically the gargoyle's way of saying, "Hey, I want back what's mine." Of course, they had no idea about it, so that's when they go on their merry ways. And then Carol she's killed later on that night. Jack, of course, is devastated, and the police are suspecting him of foul play. But especially when other bodies start coming up missing, or coming up a rather messy mess. And he turns and decides to call this tabloid news crew who had tried to interview them after the incident with the car, but they had blown them off. But she says he calls them back and he says, "Hey, I might have something for you after all." And first, Nicole and Walsh, who played the reporters and this cameraman, they're a little bit reluctant to get involved because he sort of blew them off before, so they're not really excited to get back into bed with him per se until they see the footage, and all of a sudden, then it becomes rather interesting, and they too also, Nicole happens to investigate where Carol's apartment, and in doing so, she finds eggs that the gargoyle did not find. In killing Carol, it was unable to find its. We don't know why. I couldn't figure that out because all she did was put it in a cabinet. I would think that she would be able to sense the cabinet, but for some reason it didn't, because the eggs were still there. Well, Nicole takes the eggs, and of course the gargoyle comes after her, has a narrow escape. So they figure out, Jack, Walsh, and Nicole, that their only best way of getting out of this is to go to the church and try to destroy the gargoyle. And then we meet who the mysterious stranger is, and that's Father Gable. So the four of them decided to combine forces and to go after this gargoyle, and they figured out about the eggs, and so they come up with a couple of innovative weapons, and they hit the church, looking to stop this gargoyle. But one of the members of the team has darker ways of getting rid of the gargoyle, and they better hurry up to get their mission done, or else none of them are going to come out of there alive. All right. Wow, this is, like I said, I think the premise was really good. I love the location shooting. For a sci-fi movie, this is way and above the norm. In fact, I can only think of one other movie where they filmed in a European setting, and I might be, I'm just saying what I can remember, and that was actually Sharks in Venice, which they did film in Venice, Italy. But that's about it. I do remember this movie when it premiered on the Sci-Fi Channel, but I had never watched it. So, and of course, I knew who Eric Balfour was because he had done a Roger Corman movie called Dino Croc. Dino Croc or Dino Shark, but he had done that for Sci-Fi Channel, and for a while there, he was sort of like NBC's go-to guy for the Sci-Fi Channel. He did a lot of movies for them. He did some guest spots on some TV series, and then he played Duke Crocker for 5 years on Haven. So he was pretty popular there for NBC for a while. the international cast as we know it, we didn't know who they were, didn't know who Tanya Clark was, but she's very prolific. She's been working very steadily. Caroline Neuron is, of course, a French actress, and Justin Salinger is a English actor. And the movie was directed by Bill Cochran, who I never heard anything from. So what we'll do here while I'm talking and while I'm doing this, I'm going to click over there because I'm interested. Because he did a really nice job. I do think the last third of the movie could have been picked up a little bit more, for sure. And Bill Cochran is indeed still directing. So he did a really good job. Like I said, he did a really good job with this film, in terms of, he used everything on his budget. The creature, of course, is CGI, but they have some really, really good CGI kills in this movie. I gotta agree with Charles. During his review, he noted that too. I wasn't expecting that level of CGI for this movie. Most of the time you don't think about that for sci-fi movies, but it really was really well made. And for a while there, I thought we were going to get a pie whack-it where we weren't going to actually see a good look at the creature but for a split second. But no, we get to see it up close in all its glory, and they did a nice job with it. This is definitely a superior movie than you normally would have got from a sci-fi original. So it was really well done, well acted, but the pacing indeed was a little slow in the third half of the movie. They get to the church, and then it takes forever for anything to happen. There's a lot of climbing the stairs, a lot of jump scares. There's a lot of separation of the team. That was just like that never works out well, right? You're supposed to stay together. But there's a lot of that. Of course, there's a near miss at the end. But all in all, the good guys win, and the gargoyle is stopped. I thought it was really innovative that they came up with a way to stop the gargoyle, even if it was just for temporary, and that is that Professor Randall came up with a strobe light, a UHV strobe light, which caused the gargoyle to turn into rock. Unfortunately, it didn't last for very long. You would have to hold it there and to keep it frozen in place. But as soon as the light went off, within 2 or 3 minutes, the gargoyle would come back to life, and then you run it again. This movie ran for 94 minutes. I would definitely say it would be rated R because it has some graphic violence in it. The language is acceptable, but the gore is pretty good. Much better than you would expect for a sci-fi original. So, but I enjoyed this very much, and I knew that Charles had reviewed it, and he liked it too, and he I noticed the same thing he noticed too, without him influencing what I watch, but I did notice that the final third was a little bit sluggish. But I certainly wish that he would come back because he is sorely missed on Dollar Theater. He has some really good movies that he reviewed during his time with us. I'm going to put I'm putting it on his link, his playlist for his Dollar Theater. You guys go over there and check it out and throw him a like and some comments. Tell him that the Cheetah sent you. All right. So, yeah, I know, right? You thought we were going to get away from horror. We did murder of a cat last week, and we think, okay, well now he's going to slip into something else. Oh no, we wanted to go back to horror, and so we did. And I believe we'll probably do. I got something new to toss your way. I hope that you like it, and I'll tell you about that in a couple of weeks when you guys watch this. All right, well that's it for this edition of Dollar Theater. Thanks for watching. Drop a comment down below. If you've seen Rise of the Gargoyles, let me know your thoughts of it. Yeah, thanks so much for watching, and we'll talk to you soon. Peace.